You're listening to the Geriatric Mamas Podcast with Jessica Raziri
and Sonia Tapley. Hey mamas, welcome back to another episode of the Geriatric Mamas Podcast. This episode, we're talking about things millennials were not taught that they're making sure they teach their children, inspired by the somewhat viral Instagram post by mama psychologists Caitlin Slevins and Chelsea Bodie on Instagram. As you can probably imagine, millennial parents had a lot to say since this is such an important and personal topic. Are we ready to get into it? Please subscribe, and we hope you enjoy this episode.
Yeah, we have a lot to say in this one as well.
We are.
We're proving their point.
We are, in fact, millennials. Mm-hmm. So that statement applies to us as well. But hopefully we didn't rant too much for you. But I'm sure it's all very relevant.
I mean, it's relevant to us. We clearly feel very passionate in this episode.
Mm-hmm. You know, we have done quite a lot of research since starting this podcast. So, and also just really nightly scrolling and sending ourselves reels like crazy people about
like
parenting.
You get reels from me like all hours of the night, 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
Some of them about millennial parenting, in fact. Yes.
Yeah.
Some of them.
It's fine. Enjoy. Mamas, I love a full and silky texture in my face creams because they feel so healing and comforting to my dry, thirsty skin. Well, the award-winning, best-selling, lightweight moisture release water cream by Honest Beauty called Hydrogel Cream refreshes and cools my skin on application and leaves a dewy finish. As I mentioned on the Hope episode, Kathy's Story, I love mixing Hydrogel Cream into my foundation for a healthy-looking glow. Infused with jojoba and squalene to help hydrate and soothe thirst, plus 2 sizes of hyaluronic acid to help soften and firm, reducing the appearance of fine lines. Honest Beauty's Hydrogel Cream will provide a beautiful glow for very dry skin. We're leaving the link below in our show notes. Drink up, mamas.
Mamas, I want to have rosé all day, have fun, and let myself live a little without feeling drunk or feeling hungover the next day. So I treat myself by adding rosé tinted glasses to my sparkling water or lemonade. If you're like me and you're looking for calm daytime energy while feeling alert, present, and uplifted because, well, you know, you're a mom now. Adaptogenic and antioxidant-rich ingredients make rosé tinted glasses from Apothecary great for those battling feelings of stress and looking to curb signs of aging with improved skin tone and moisture. Its tincture format makes it easy to drop wherever you're making it. It's perfect for busy working moms, busy stay-at-home moms who are looking for mood and energy support on the go. We're leaving a link below and in our show notes. So cheers, mamas.
Positive recording day. It's going to be great. We're not going to have any mistakes.
Oh, God.
I'm going to have hardly any edits. We're going to be able to read everything beautifully in one take.
These comments and stuff that we're going to do today are all like Instagram comments, and there's only one doctor in there, and they don't use crazy terms.
Yeah, it's all like the big words. I'm just
we're like,
come on.
What are
Hooked
they
on
saying?
Phonics didn't teach me about that. So can you just like sound it out?
Literally, like, put the hyphens in between each syllable and then
spell it
also,
like you say it. Come on.
And then also put a Google reference so that we know. I feel like our favorite podcasters, except for like the celebrity ones, are all like super intelligent about the world and life. And then here we are, and we're just trying to spell out a word.
It's ethically. Jessica, the word is ethically. Oh, yes. Okay, ethically. Got it. Cool. I've never heard that word in my life.
It's like a 10-minute bloopers reel from one episode.
I know, seriously. Oh, shit. Let's get into it.
Yeah. All right. So there's a new parenting style that everyone's talking about. It's called lighthouse parenting. So when the podcast first started, we did an episode on parenting styles based on documentaries we've watched, and lighthouse parenting wasn't used by any of the parents on the show. However, the method has existed for a few years now, and it's recently started gaining traction. Have you heard of lighthouse parenting?
I haven't. I feel like obviously looked into this and I think it's great, but it's just kind of funny because there's so many different parenting
So many,
styles.
especially
And I
now.
feel like now we're just getting to a point where we're just like
It's
making
just
shit up.
everyone
It's like,
has their own
okay,
style.
right. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to take this approach and mix it with this approach and add just a little bit of this and I'm going to call it this.
Right.
And it's like you have all these different versions. Like,
Right.
how confusing.
Right.
Like which one? I don't know. Here's a list of
Right.
57,000 parenting styles you can
Right.
choose from.
And
Which one would you like?
reality that I think a lot of people are kind of like, a lot of people are living in this actual reality that their parenting style is evolving as their child grows. Because it's like, how can you be an attachment parent for like their entire lives? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's just like a little cray cray. So, and I'm not calling attachment parenting cray cray. I loved it when Annabelle was born, but definitely have evolved through like probably
Well,
10
there's a
other
time and
styles.
place. Like,
Yeah.
you can't really still have them on the tit and
Right.
when
Right.
they have a girlfriend and shit. That's a little
Right.
weird. So you
Oh
got to
my
let
God.
go.
Like, it's reminding me of a movie where the dad gets his friends and they like go to spy on their daughter for like a party.
That's like every movie.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like that scene has happened a lot.
Probably a lot, yeah. So, okay, here's to Liam Neeson's Love It. So, here's a description of what lighthouse parenting is from CBC News. Lighthouse parents, according to Parents Magazine, provide a stable source of guidance for their children, like a lighthouse, while also giving them the freedom to grow and learn. They are sturdy, reliable, but not controlling, according to a recent piece in The Atlantic. The Lighthouse Method is a balanced approach and develops emotionally healthy children and adolescents who go on to have deep, enduring relationships with their parents for their entire lifetime, says U.S. pediatrician Dr. Kenneth Ginsburg in his upcoming manual, Lighthouse Parenting, Raising Your Child with Loving Guidance for a Lifelong Bond, which is scheduled for publication in March of 2025. In an earlier blog post, Ginsburg, a leading proponent of Lighthouse Parenting, who is also the founder of the Center for Parent and Teen Communications, wrote that lighthouse parents are a stable force on the shoreline that a child can measure themselves against. He says, I see it as my job to look down at the rocks and make sure they do not crash against them. I look into the waves and trust they will eventually learn to ride them on their own, but I will prepare them to do so, he wrote.
I love that analogy, like that visual of it. Like, I feel like for me, like tied it all together. And I'm just like, oh, okay, that's really sweet. I understand why it's called that now.
No, it gives me a lump in my throat. It makes me want to like tear up because I say this repeatedly. I know I've said it to you so many times. Like, I want to prepare Annabelle. I want to prepare her. I want to prepare her. And like, sometimes people are like, kids don't listen to their parents when they, when they're teenagers.
But we have to at least try. They're not going to, but we have to at least try because you don't want her to look back as an adult and be like, why did no one tell me this? And you don't want the reason to be like, well, you wouldn't have listened. It's like, well, at least try. Give me the opportunity to not listen. Because then if she chooses not to listen, then I mean, it's on her. It's like you tried, you showed her, and
And I think too, there's like age appropriate things that you can express to them starting at a very young age and like hopefully get a lot of the main points out before they hit like the puberty stage when really life revolves around their friends more than anything, and then that way they trust everything that you've told them and they can go in with that solid that solid base of knowledge before they get into that stage. But I'm not going to lie, that last part, if you're wondering how to help your child make informed decisions and navigate the world as intelligently as possible, they will eventually learn to ride the waves on their own, but I will prepare them to do so. Look at him being mindful and demure.
Don't even. That trend needs to go away. If I see one more post about that, I'm just like,
I love it so much.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, it's one of those things. I can appreciate a good trend, but when it's like a bad trend that goes viral and I'm just like, oh, make it end. And then when everybody and their mother, like every other post.
I've seen some good
It's
references
just like,
to it lately, though, like some really good references. And I think this is a good one because parenting has been in the shitter for quite a while. Let's be honest. From like the 80s on.
Yeah.
Maybe before, I don't know, because I wasn't born yet. But
I just want to like
all of this.
I wish that like I could like protect Hayden from like just everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like the idea of like I just look at him and his sweet little spirit and he's just like so funny, so happy, so pure. Same with Annabelle. And the idea of some motherfucker breaking their heart,
Yeah.
like it instantly fills me with rage. And like I literally will find myself like maybe I'm speaking for all moms that do this, but like I will find myself creating hypothetical situations in my head of like things that could potentially happen. Like he meets a girl and it's his first love and then she breaks his heart and then like he's all upset and then like I will literally just like start crying and then like I realize like you're crying about something that like may not even happen or probably will, but like from like 20 years from now, like calm down, like you know, not 20 years, but you know what I mean, like probably like 12, but still. Yeah, so I don't know, I just wish that I could shield him from all of it, and we can't. The truth is you can't. And if we could, we would bubble wrap them and we would just keep them inside forever and just don't go anywhere. But that's hurting them, you know. That's they need to explore life. They're gonna get their hearts broken. They are gonna get hurt. They're gonna get in trouble. They're gonna fuck up. They're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna be, you know, stuck with having to make choices. And it's really up to us to give them the tools that they need to figure it out and learn. And they're not always going to listen to us. But what's going to happen is as long as we've shown them the way and we've given them the tools that they need, when they do fuck up, they're going to hear us in their head. They're going to remember that we told them, this is what you do. This is why. This is, and then that's going to be the why for them. They're going to be like, okay, and maybe they'll think twice the next time. Because they were
I don't
told.
think they're always going to make, like, they're obviously going to make mistakes. They're not always going to make the best decision, but having that solid base of self-worth and understanding where the decisions came from was from a good place, I think is going to help them self-validate. Like, you know, so I definitely hope to be able to instill a lot of self-worth and intelligence into Annabelle. We'll see how it goes. Stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned. Please check back in about 5 to 10 years. This episode, we're talking about things millennials were not taught that they're making sure they teach their children, inspired by the somewhat viral Instagram post by @MamaSpsychologist, Caitlin Slavens, and Chelsea Bodie on Instagram. As you can probably imagine, millennial parents had a lot to say since this is such an important and personal topic. Are we ready to get into it?
I mean, we just went on for like 20 minutes, so I feel like we do have a lot to say about it.
We need to get into it again.
Right.
Ready to really get into it now.
Right. I feel like millennials are bitter, and we're about to get into it.
Yeah, we just have so much to blame.
Right.
Yeah, we are bitter.
We are bitter. So on that note, it's no secret that so many millennial parents are making different parenting decisions than their parents did, seeking advice from the internet, good old Google, juggling work and family obligations, and navigating conversations around mental health. Here are some statistics mentioned in a millennial parenting article by LoriChildrens.org. 73% of millennial parents believe their parenting style is better than past generations. The audacity. 3 in 4 millennial parents practice gentle parenting. Nearly half, aka 46% of millennial parents feel burned out. Navigating a digital world, 85% believe social media creates unrealistic parenting expectations, and 1 in 4 double check parenting advice from social media. It's so funny because I do some photography for seniors, and the biggest thing that parents tell me is that navigating social media is so hard because it's on 24/7.
Yeah.
And kids have their phones 24/7 when they're in high school. And so they can't ever just shut it off and like block the haters out. So it's just, and like they're getting emails and everything, just everything. 80% believe discussions with children around mental health are very important. Work-life balance. 82% of millennial parents work, and 4 in 5 prioritize children over career.
I will say, I think I don't think it matters if you're millennial or not. Being a parent is overwhelming, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like Gen X, Gen Z, YQ plus, like I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. Like it's a lot. But some of the things that are just really interesting, one we've talked about a lot, but the whole screen time thing and setting unrealistic expectations and. Yeah, there is that whole like Insta versus reality thing. I'm guilty of it sometimes too. Like, I'm only going to share the beautiful moments. I'm not going to share him throwing his shit on the floor and like causing, being an actual demon child. Like, I'm not going to share that. I'll talk about it to you, but like, I'm not going to like broadcast that online. I'm going to share the beautiful moments of like us baking together. And I'm not going to show that it was all over the floor and, that it was a huge mess and the sink was a disaster after. I'm going to show the cute parts of him mixing and putting the flour in or whatever. And so it's like you don't see, it's almost like that whole iceberg effect, It's like you don't see all the bullshit. And so we put all this unrealistic expectations on ourselves to be perfect and like be these superheroes and then you throw gentle parenting in the mix, and we know that we relate like our like mental health, and we're like, well, I struggled with XYZ, and so I want to make sure that my child doesn't do this, and we try to do all these things, and we get advice from a bunch of different like areas, and there's the lighthouse effect, there's this, there's that, and it's a lot.
And there was this thing that was posted on my hometown's community page about something that was going on TikTok. And it's a trend that's like, it's not just this town. It's like across the country. High schools have their own TikTok page, and there are like anonymous posts because like nobody knows who posted it. It could be anyone that goes in there and posts it. And this one specific TikTok page that the mom was talking about is the high school kids are all creating reels or TikTok videos, obviously, because it's TikTok, but they're creating videos of like couples that should be. So like so-and-so should be with so-and-so. And basically they're like ranking them. Like if it's like the most popular boy.
Like in like high school?
Girl, yeah.
Oh,
if it's like the most popular guy, like the most popular guy or like the best football player and whatever, like he should be with like this gorgeous girl. Or if it's like this girl might not be quite as like outwardly, I guess, attractive.
I would die.
Then she should be with like so-and-so over here. Like these are things that high school kids are doing across the country. And like, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is only something that came across.
I would homeschool myself.
Right. But this is what actually parents are up against this shit. And you can't dream of this. Like this is because you're worried. Like, I guess like as a parent, who is a first-time parent with their child going into middle school and high school for the first time, unless they're on these pages on Facebook, they would never know that this kind of thing is happening. They would think their biggest thing would just be pure bullying, not fully understanding what that means. And then like homework is overwhelming because they're just assigning so much homework these days. Plus like if you play a sport or 2 sports or whatever, it's like you don't necessarily think of all the things that a high school kid is going to come up with for shenanigans because there's no way to guess that. It's like, tomorrow, what's the most creative thing they can do on TikTok?
Yeah. Have you seen, and this might be a good topic for another episode. Ooh, this would be a good one to get Alyssa on to weigh in on. But have you seen the new thing where parents are flat out refusing to have their kids do the insane amount of homework?
Oh no, I haven't, but it's definitely something
it's
I
more
can see
for
coming.
like the younger kids, because it's like, it's like, okay, he is literally 8 years old and it's his second day of school and he comes home crying because he has 5 hours of homework after just spending all day cooped up behind a desk, and he can't even go out and play and get all that energy out. And now you expect him to sit at home all night and do XYZ? No, I'm sorry. He's not doing this. And it's just like, I don't understand how that works. I love it, but it's like, how does that work? So it's like, does he just fail because you're not letting him do it? But it's like,
this seems like,
but there needs to be some kind of push though, because it is a lot. It is turning into being a lot. Like I remember when we were young, like I thought like, God, I have to do another macaroni project. Like, and I thought like we had a lot, but they have so much now, like backpacks full of shit. And it's like hours of stuff. And it's like, is this necessary? Like, where is this all coming from? They're babies. Like, give them a freaking minute. Yeah.
Memes from Too Littles to Love has been posting about, because her daughter is right there.
Hey mamas, are you someone who's 35 plus and struggled with fertility, endured a miscarriage, experienced heartbreaking fostering or adoption challenges, or were perhaps flat out told by a doctor that you will never conceive naturally, and despite the odds, eventually found your happy ending by becoming a mama?
Send us your story at geriatricmamas.com. We would love to feature your journey to motherhood on a future Geriatric Mamas episode.
So the original Instagram post by @Mama's Psychologist on Instagram states these things that they're making sure they're teaching their children. 1, mental health is as important as physical health. Yes, amen. 2, that they don't have to finish all the food on their plate. This helps them learn their own internal signals around hunger and fullness. Thank you.
Jeez,
Like,
I used to be forced to sit at the table
I would sit there for hours.
Yeah, like literally just staring at my food because
Not gonna eat that.
No.
Not gonna eat that.
You eat a lot of things when you're hungry, but when your mom makes her famously bad meatloaf and your dad is like, you're not moving from that table until it's at least halfway gone and you've like already stuffed yourself with your mashed potatoes and gulped down the milk they force you to drink.
Yeah.
You're not going to eat that meatloaf. That's disgusting. Sorry.
Yeah. Like,
sorry, Mom.
It's not happening. It's
Sorry,
not
Mom.
happening.
Sorry, Linda. But
For me, it was lasagna. Like, I just have this weird thing about lasagna.
I love
I know. Still to this day. You know what it is? You know what did it for me?
Oh, no. What did she do to it?
No, she didn't do anything.
Oh, she did it?
She didn't do shit to it. For me, it was
Sorry, Doris.
It was in school. It was in high school. We were studying the layers of the skin. And there was like all these different layers. There were like 7 layers or whatever. The epidermis, you have the whatever. And to this day, like I literally like gag. I love all the ingredients of lasagna. I love ricotta cheese. I love noodles. I love sauce. Put it together in that order and make it look like I can't do it.
Your mom is like a really good cook too.
I know.
So that lasagna.
And I'm sure it's
amazing.
fucking fire. I'm sure that lasagna is fire. And I like maybe I just like if I mash it up, I can like cut it all up, then I'll eat it. But it's like if it's in a block and it looks like I see nope. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Not doing it. I know it's weird. It's weird. Yeah. See, this goes back to mental health issues.
Well, luckily these days you can like do fried lasagna. You can do like people make lasagna casseroles. Like lasagna is a casserole, but you're making it into like a different kind of casserole. I don't know. Like there are ways of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I've made lasagna several times for Adam because he loves it, and I've forced myself to do it. It's different when I will say that was better because I was physically doing it, so I knew like this isn't skin, this is a noodle. Like it's okay, this is cheese, this is this is that, and you're like you're gonna be okay.
Right.
But then after even my own cooking, and I put it in my plate, and I was just staring at it, I'm just like, damn, like I can't. All right. So moving on to number 3. It's okay if not everyone likes you or is friends with you. You don't have to like or be friends with everyone. Amen. That is so much pressure.
Right. I remember
like to just be nice to everybody because no.
Exactly. It's crazy.
Harriet's a bitch. I'm not going to be nice to her. Sorry.
Right. I love living that life now. It feels so empowering.
Yeah.
Like if you see someone who was mean to you in middle school and you're out shopping, you don't have to say hi to them.
No.
If they're getting their hair done at the next chair over from you, you don't have to make small talk with them. You can just be on your phone. You don't.
Tanya, do you want to know one of the things that I love the most about you?
Huh.
You have the best resting bee face. Like, it's so good. Like, when you don't
really
like somebody and you just, like, you're just, like, not interested in, like, what that person is bringing as far as energy. Like, I watch you literally, like, shut down and dismiss them on your face. And it's, like, the best.
Did I talk about this before?
I
saw this one, like, my face is an emoji, but I saw this girl one time who was so mean to me in middle school because I was friends with one of her best friends, and she was wicked jealous of that. And so I ended up parking out by like the back of Old Navy and to just stay away from other cars. And apparently she had the same idea and we were going to the same place. And she got her kids out of the car before I got Annabelle out, like all the way out. And she walks by and she's like, oh, hi, Sonia. And she like keeps walking and I realized she's going to Old Navy and I was like, oh, hi. And I like buckled Annabelle back into the car seat and I was like, I'll go to H&M.
I think you did tell me this.
Did I
don't
tell
blame
you this?
I think
Like,
you
we're
did, and I would have
going-
done the same exact thing.
We're gonna go shopping at H&M. We're not.
Yep.
We're not going here today.
Yeah, I'm all set. I just I don't have room for that in my life today.
Yeah,
so
for sure my emoji
no.
face came out for that. It was like, I don't know which one it was.
The next one is it's okay to cry. It doesn't mean you're weak. Yeah. I was never taught that like it makes you weak, but I was also never it was never instilled in me that it's okay to
Yeah.
cry. Like it was always accepted when I cried, but I think like a lot of that comes from peers and feeling like it's embarrassing. And I
Right.
think also too it's different for girls. Girls in front of girls, that's a whole other story. But like
Right.
girls in front of boys, like I think boys get all weird and they're like, "Oh shit, I made her cry. What do I do?" But like I want Hayden to know it is okay to cry. There's of course a time and place. Like
Right.
I don't want him to be this like emotional sap. Like I
Oh,
feel
God.
like
Yeah.
we have a lot of I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I feel like we have a lot of sissy boys out there. And like it's not that I want to make Hayden this like unemotional person, but I also want him to be confident and strong and like in
Right.
control of his emotions and
Right.
understand like, hey, this is a situation that is making me upset. It's like it's hard and I'm going to cry because I feel sad about it. Cry. It's
Right.
okay.
Right. There's so many different things that like could make a little boy cry. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, but I think you're right. Like the having the confidence and the self-worth and the ability to like you just basically said internal communication.
Yeah,
that will
rationalize
help him.
when it is like
Right.
I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't want him to be a grown ass man that's crying over every little fucking thing
Yeah.
because I'm sorry, but that's not cute. Like
Right.
it's not. Like I appreciate like emotion, obviously,
Right.
like anybody does, but like I also want to feel like you're my man, you're my protector. And like if you're coming to me and crying because you skinned your knee, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, like okay, you want a band-aid? Here you go. Like
Right.
jeez.
Right. And like even with little girls too, like having a safe space to be able to cry and express yourself without everyone around you judging is important.
Yes.
And I feel like having the privacy to just live in your emotions without the entire world being like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot because that just
Yeah.
adds on even more to the situation.
That just like made me think of another point that like I wish one thing that like I'm not good about is I've gotten better over the years, but I used to really, and I still do sometimes, I used to really, really struggle when I get really, really upset, really, really emotional, really worked up about something. I have a hard time effectively communicating what it truly is that's bothering me. I tend to lash out immediately to try to make that person feel just as bad as I'm feeling. And then like it takes me a little bit to like calm down from the anger, the hostility part, and then really rationalize and think about it and put into words what is happening. And I don't know if that starts young with like effective communication and understanding and sorting out your feelings and working through it. But that is something that I want to really spend time on with Hayden. And it's like, let's understand our emotions. Let's understand what's happening here. Let's talk through it. Let's figure this out. Cause it's like, it's really like, it's crippling sometimes. Like I could be in the middle of like a heated conversation and I have all of these really important points, but I can't get anything out. And I sound like a blubbering emotional idiot because I can't communicate in that moment because I'm so like flabbergasted by like WTF is going on and it takes me a little bit to process
Yeah.
and then I fire back. So I just wish that like I could be a little bit maybe it's a personality type. I don't know, but I just wish that I could be a little bit more like in the moment of like bam, bam, bam. And you know those like girls that are like just there, like they're just
Mm-hmm.
on fire, like in
Just
the
like
moment.
immediately shut it down.
Yes, like
Yeah.
I wish that was me. And
Mm-hmm.
unless it's a topic that I'm already like prepared for in my mind and I'm already
Mm-hmm.
passionate about and I already have all my points ready to go, if
Mm-hmm.
it's something that's new that's just coming at me, I get very quiet and I almost shut down for a little bit because I'm literally just processing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Is that
Yeah.
just like a personality thing, you think? I don't know.
No, I think it's the fact that we are cyclical human beings as women. We are not a constant. So our brains are fluctuating and we're not always the same. It doesn't matter like
Yeah.
what the situation is, you're going to have a different mentality about it. Yes, like yesterday than you would today versus tomorrow. And sometimes just like taking a moment to like it's just yeah, I mean we no, people get mad. Just a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
don't say anything. They
Yeah.
just kind of like will either not talk about it to avoid conflict
Mm-hmm.
or they'll not talk about it because they don't want to put energy into it.
Yeah.
Because like if you're like if you're spending all that time processing and then responding and then that person's responding to you and then you're processing again and then you're taking all that time to reply, that could take like 2 hours of your day.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of energy.
And a lot of people just don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And men are really good at this. Like I feel like this is something that men are really good at. Like they're just really good at not expending energy on things like this when they can
Yeah.
just like shut it down in like one sentence. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't know. I think that's where like the self-validation comes in a lot of times.
Yeah, it's like I want him to know how to face. I don't want him to like run from conflict. I want him to like address conflict head on.
Mhm.
But I think it also, like you said too, like self-validation. It's just like,
Mhm.
do I need to face this head on? What am I going to get from this by facing this
Right.
head on? Like, is this
Mhm.
really worth my energy
Right.
or is it not? Like, is
Right.
it like low rent? Then like I'm not
Mhm.
dealing with that. It's fine.
Exactly.
Move it aside. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's a good point. Okay, so the next one, I love this one. They deserve to be treated with kindness and respect. Yes, I know for me, and I think a lot of us millennials respect your elders and like always be
Mhm.
kind, and doesn't matter what they say to you, you show kindness and respect back. Yes, but I do think that it is okay
Mhm.
in certain cases where if your child isn't being shown respect and they are being treated a certain way, I don't care their age, I don't care who they are. Like I want Hayden to know that he can come to me and he needs to recognize that it's not okay to be treated that way. And I don't necessarily want him to be rude, but I do want him to know that he that it's not right and he
Mhm.
does deserve to be treated in a better way
Mhm.
and to come to me and tell me,
Mhm.
and because it's not okay, and
Right.
also to recognize that if somebody like that's a different situation, but also as like a peer,
Mhm.
if like another kid comes to him and is bullying him, or if a girlfriend isn't treating him right, or if a teacher isn't treating him fairly, again, I want him to be able to recognize that and be respectful, but tell me about it or understand, have the tools necessary of how to navigate that and how to cut people out. It's okay to
Mhm.
cut people out that aren't right for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Like
I
when
love
I
that
sent
one.
you that reel last week, and I think it was something about this girl, she was like sitting there, like smirking at the camera, and there was a quote on the screen, and she said, when you realize your future husband would never do that to you, it's like liberating or something. And I think that can be applied to so many things. Like, no person who's an important part of my life would ever treat me that way. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just think like applying something along those lines to the respect and the kindness that is expected of other people in your life. And it's a lot for a tiny child to understand, but as they
Mm-hmm.
get older, it's a way of vetting out friends or like toxic family members. Like, yes, they're still going to be present on like maybe Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter or whatever holidays, but you don't have to go out of your way
Right.
to spend time with them.
There has to be a point where it's like, is this bringing me joy? Is
Mm-hmm.
this like bringing
Yeah.
value to my life, or is it causing me stress and heartache? And if it's the latter, then
Right.
sorry,
Exactly.
it needs to be cut, and it's okay to be
Yeah.
cut. So yeah, those are amazing 5 points. I know I stopped counting along the way, but there were 5 of those points there. So they invited people to comment with what they're teaching their children. So Sonia, kick it off.
So, as you can imagine, so many people commented with what they're teaching their children. So, one of the first comments is, I taught my kids it's loving to admit when you're wrong and to apologize. My own parents would never admit they were wrong. Kids are so forgiving when you tell them you're sorry. And I love that. I do apologize to Annabelle for like a lot of things. Like,
Me too.
yeah, like lots of
Constantly
things.
apologizing to Hayden.
Yeah. I'm always bumping her or something. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Or like the other day, I lost my cool and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It wasn't even like that bad, but I was just like, no, we can't do that right now because I am doing X, Y, and Z. And like it was in a certain tone and she was just like, oh, that's serious. And I was like, honey, I'm really sorry. I'm just stressed out right now. I'm like trying.
Yeah, I think it's important because it's like kids internalize it as like they did something wrong. It's their fault, or mommy doesn't love me, or mommy's angry, or whatever, because they're not understanding. They don't look at it and be like, mommy's stressed out, mommy's overstimulated, mommy has a lot on her plate. They don't understand that. They don't give a shit about that. And so when I feel myself being a little prickly or very like short tempered or whatever, like I'll give myself a minute and then I usually will go over and be like, just give him a hug, be like, I'm sorry, Hayden, you were just asking for more juice. I'm sorry. I love you. Like, and he just, he doesn't understand what's happening, but at least it makes me feel better. And then I just want him to look back and be like, well, she did always apologize for her like crazy behavior.
Right. Okay, so my 7-year-old started therapy a few months ago for his anxiety, and it's made a huge difference. Wish it would have been a thing when I was growing up. Definitely. This is so important, I think.
Why was it? It was looked at so negatively.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're going to see a shrink.
Right.
You call it a shrink.
Really?
Oh, you have to go see a shrink. Like, it was just so negative.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody should have a therapist on speed dial.
Yes. Oh my gosh, for sure. I remember we had one when I was like, I don't know, 17 or 18 when my grandfather was starting to get kind of like towards end of life. And he was like a big part of our lives, obviously. So they brought in like kind of like a grief counselor so that we could all be together. And like then she would sit us down like individually and have conversations. And I just remember it was so amazing. There were so many things. Like she didn't want to, like there were, obviously she wanted to know how like we felt about that. And she was actually kind of trying to tiptoe around, do we even understand what's happening here? But then she would get into the rest of our lives a little bit, which was really helpful at times because obviously she had so much insight about so many things. It was really nice. It was nice to be able to throw things off of her and see what she had to say, for sure.
Yeah, different perspective is key,
right.
for sure.
Our 3-year-old keeps checking that we're happy. Not sure where she's learned this, but we're teaching her that her happiness is more important, that other people are in charge of their own happiness. So this is crazy. It's something that Annabelle does to me from time to time, and I've heard that children are mostly as happy as their mom, and that what they care about the most is their mommy's happiness. Isn't that so, like...
That's gonna make me cry.
I know. Like, I'll buckle her sometimes into the car seat, and, like, that can be kind of a stressful time because she wants to do it herself, and she's too little to, like, climb up into the Jeep by herself, but it starts with the climbing in, and then the getting up, and then the turning around in the car seat, which she's still navigating all of, like, the dexterity there. And so I'll be doing my Daniel Tiger, like, deep breathing that he's, like, count to 3 and then breathe. And I'll be like, 1, 2, 3. And she'll, like, hear me and she'll be like, Mommy, are you happy? And I'm like, oh, I'm so
Not
happy.
at this moment.
I'm so happy, Annabelle. And she's like, really? Are you sure, Mama?
She's gonna learn that like happiness looks very different.
Right. Happiness sometimes looks like you're doing deep breathing exercise.
Yeah. Okay, so another commenter, I'm teaching mine that every feeling they have is valid and it's more important to be resilient than it is to be happy.
Yeah. So, kind of going along with what you were saying earlier, but teaching them how to identify their feelings, identify why they're feeling those feelings, unless it's obvious, obviously, and then
Mm-hmm.
how to validate their own feelings so they won't believe it if a person tells them that they're overthinking,
Oh, God.
overreacting, or being too emotional.
So they're not gaslit?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because, that happens so much. And then they can tell themselves if that's actually the case when someone tries to tell them that they're overthinking or, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so important that they know what they're feeling, why they're feeling it, and then they can validate it. There's this master class, the app master class, and it's like the RuPaul masterclass. They talk about this like throughout the whole thing, and it's so educational. They had like a really crazy like upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember like exactly like why they got onto this topic, but it was so good and they spent a lot of time on it. So if you guys have the app masterclass, go watch RuPaul. It's so good.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Let's check that out. All right, so another commenter, primary teacher here. A student complained to me on the playground today that another student kept walking away from them. At first, I wanted to say we include and play with everyone, but then I realized and pointed out to the student that maybe the other student didn't want to play with them and they should find someone else who does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't chase a track, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that is a really good lesson. To me, like in my adult life, I'm just like, well, yeah, obviously. But then it's like to really think about like
Right.
baby Jessica, like
Mm-hmm.
this person doesn't want to play. And yeah, like so it's a hard thing to understand. But I think that's definitely that was the proper way of handling that situation for sure. Like,
Yeah,
don't be
it's-
chasing people. Have some self-respect.
Right. It's
Be the black
important.
cat.
Especially for girls, like that's what Jess is referring to with the black cat thing. It's really
Yeah.
important that people learn don't chase a track. Like, and it's this teacher teaching them this at this age is amazing. A primary teacher? Go you, primary teacher.
Yeah.
So clearly, millennials are spicy.
Clearly, we all need therapy.
Yep.
We're all bitter as fuck.
Yeah.
We're all a little emotionally unstable.
Mm-hmm.
We have weight issues because we're tormented into
forced
thinking we have to
to
eat
eat things.
everything on our plate.
Yeah. And wash
Anything
it
else?
down. Wash it down with 200 calories worth of milk. Yeah. No big
Anything
deal.
else? No big deal. It's fine.
To save your bones.
Yeah, we got a lot of new episode topic ideas from this episode. I feel though,
God.
there's
Yeah,
a
this
few
could be
there.
a whole year. We could get
I
through.
know.
We could get through a year of millennial spice. It would take us the whole year because we have got a lot to say. I mean, this was the most long-winded episode we've had in a really long time, and I think the original poster literally is like millennials have a lot to say. So we didn't prove her wrong.
We
didn't
did not
even
disappoint.
we
We
didn't
did not
make-
disappoint.
No, and we were trying to keep it as brief as possible because who needs to hear us rant for 2 hours? But it's fine.
It's like-
Well, on that note, that's all we have for you today, folks. Reminder, you get 20% off services at HS Medical Aesthetics in Westbrook, Maine with the code MAMAS2024, a free first swim class at Goldfish Swim School in Portland, Maine with the same code MAMAS2024. You'll just need to call them to schedule your child's first visit.
So excited to watch the little swim. It's going to be so fun.
I know.
So thank you, everyone, for listening. Whoever you are.
Are you there?
Who's ever out there.
Please come back. Please come back.
Be sure to tune in next week. Your support is keeping the podcast going. You can help us by following, subscribing, rating, reviewing, and especially by telling a friend to listen anywhere or watch on YouTube.
For more info, you can check out our website at geriatricmamas.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at geriatric_mamas, on YouTube at Geriatric Mamas, Twitter at Geriatric Mamas, or follow our group page on Facebook, Geriatric Mamas, TikTok at geriatric_mamas.
Good job. If you have a topic idea you'd like us to discuss or interested in being a guest or simply have a funny geriatric story to tell, you can go to geriatricmamas.com and hit be a guest or send us your story. Bye-bye.
here are some statistics.
Sound it out.
Hooked on phonics. Again.
This podcast is not sponsored by Hooked on Phonics.
No.
But maybe it should be.
Yeah, I don't think they make their cut. They're probably going to be like, oh, God, block those people.